We know about the ancient philosophers like Aristotle, Plato, and Socrates. Do you think that today we have those type of philosophers?
I think nowadays we do have philosophers like them. Maybe they haven't written a book or maybe not so knowledgeable, but I think that we have philosophers like those in modern day times. Yeah.
What makes someone a modern day philosopher?
Someone who's a philosopher has a way of believing something that they're strong about. They convince, persuade others to believe that particular concept, can support it, and they're willing to take risks.
Do you think that an ancient philosopher is more wiser than a modern day philosopher?
I don't think he's wiser. I just believe that maybe they're not so known as maybe the ancient ones are known for.
Okay, thank you. Now we are with Mr. McDowell. We know about the ancient philosophers like Aristotle, Plato, and Socrates. Do you think that today we have those types of philosophers?
No, because you really can't create the imagery that they could centuries ago. Their culture was totally different. For example, I doubt nowadays anybody could create Dante's Inferno because we don't think about heaven and hell in such the same way.
What makes someone a modern day philosopher?
Guessing by the terminology, I would suppose it'd be a philosopher of this day and age. And I would also include that as to be the lay philosopher too.
Do you think that an ancient philosopher is more wiser than a modern day philosopher?
Do you mean ancient?
Yes, ancient like Aristotle, Socrates.
Well, ancient philosophers certainly have passed the test of time. I mean, if you still know them 4,000 years from now and they're still being widely quoted, they must have obviously made a great impact upon history. And it's premature to say whether Bertrand Russell, for example, or Kierkegaard will have the same effect 4,000 years from now. So to recap it, I can't say for sure say that the ancient philosophers were better, but I could say that they certainly passed the test of time, and it remains to be seen whether modern day philosophers will.
Okay, thank you. Now we are with Mr. Roberts. We know about the ancient philosophers like Aristotle, Plato, and Socrates. Do you think that today we have those types of philosophers?
Let's see. I would say no, because the world was young then, and they were putting things together that no one had ever put together before. I think they're unique.
Okay. What makes someone a modern day philosopher?
Modern day philosopher? I think you have to understand the world is small now, and that the systems of thinking around the world are being combined, and the people that are able to do that would be philosophers.
Okay. Do you think that an ancient philosopher is more wiser than a modern day philosopher?
I think the wisest philosopher is one that believes in absolutes. And so, if you're talking about the Greek philosophers, then yeah, because they believed in truth. Philosophers now tend to not believe in absolute truth. So, Asian philosophers being like who? Who are we talking about?
Aristotle, Socrates, Plato.
Yeah, I would say those guys are wiser than Foucault or the 20th century philosophers. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Now we are with Mr. Aguilar. We know about the ancient philosophers like Aristotle, Plato, and Socrates. Do you think that today we have those type of philosophers?
I believe that we do have modern day philosophers. That type of philosophers, probably not, because the type of life that people live today is more hectic. More complicated. There's a lot more problems in society. Society was a bit more simpler then. So, yeah, we do have great thinkers, great philosophers, but very different from the ones we had thousands of years ago.
What makes someone a modern-day philosopher?
I think a modern-day philosopher is not only a person that does great work in thinking, in deep thought, but it's a person that tries to come up with solutions to modern-day problems
Do you,
and with
Sorry.
modern ideas.
sorry. Do you think that an ancient philosopher is more wiser than a modern-day philosopher?
I think they're both as wise. The only difference is the context, their environment, their surroundings. If you compare people like, let's say, Plato and Socrates with modern-day philosophers like Albert Einstein or Isaac Newton, then they were living two completely different eras. Their problems were focused on completely different environments. So, yeah, their depth in thought might be the same, but oriented to different areas.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now we are with Ms. Espinosa. We know about the ancient philosophers like Aristotle, Plato, and Socrates. Do you think that today we have those types of philosophers?
Yes, I think so, because we still have the same questions that those philosophers had before.
What makes someone a modern-day philosopher?
The difference is that probably humanity has changed in technology and all that thing, but the issues, like, for example, where we come from, are the same questions that have been asked by ancient philosophers.
The last question, do you think that an ancient philosopher is more wiser than a modern-day philosopher?
No, I think they're different in different ways, because obviously times have changed, but philosophers are obviously as wise before and now.
Okay, thank you, Miss.
You're welcome.